now we're at the part where we're going to install our long lock rod that has the T-bar on it. And what you're going to do, we're at the end where we'll raise the garage door up, because this is a 12-foot long piece of pipe, square tubing. And you're going to insert this right in through this hole here. And then my helper Jay is going to line it. There are some tubes inside, guide tubes, that holds this in place. And he's lining them up as we push this through. Just like so. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install our side-to-side lock rod. And so what we want to do is, you're going to see there's a washer welded onto this rod. When you put this in, you want to be on this side of the eye bolt, because you think about it, when this pulls to open up the lock, we're going to have a spring attached to this washer and to this eye bolt. So what we want to do is, when this pulls, the spring makes a positive lock going back. So you want this to be on the left-hand side of our eye bolt. So it goes through like this. And then we're going to set our heims. So come down to this end over here. So what we're going to do is take our heim in. Look how heavy duty this is built. It's got a swivel on it. We're going to thread this onto the end of this rod. We're not going to tighten up the jam bolt yet. We're going to go ahead and put this in. And I need a nut, please. And then we'll put a nut on the back side of it. Now we've got that side tightened up. Now we're ready to put in our linkage on this end. So we have our heim. We're going to thread it on to our lock rod. Get this threaded on there. What we're going to do is set this T-bar to where it's pointing at about 1 o'clock, somewhere right in there. It's going to be a 1 o'clock time frame. I can back this up a little bit to give us a little bit more, just like so. And then you're going to have a lock washer you put on the back side, because this T-bar is a little thinner, and then we're going to have our nut that we put on the back side. And bring that up to it, just like so. And then what we've got to do is we're going to put on our linkage rod to go from the lock to the other side of the T-bar. So it's going to be this long rod, threaded rod. You're going to put on your jam nut first. Put you on one of the heims. Then on the other side, put the jam nut in. And then put on the heim. And then you'll adjust this. This is going to go through the lock, the main lock, and then it's going to go here. So we're going to adjust this in so that it fits that length. Like so. One more turn. Now it fits perfect. Again, we're going to use the lock washer, nut, and then over here we put the heim through. And what we're going to do, since it's a thick plate, all we're doing is putting the nut on this side, like we did on the other. At this point, we'll use a 9/16, and we'll tighten up all of our linkage to the rod, 1/2 inch here, 9/16 here, lock these in place. And we're all locked, linkage rods are linked. We'll tighten up our jam nuts here real quick, and we are good to go on this end. And we'll go to the other side and do the same. Okay, so now what we want to do is we have our washer. We got to insert the spring here and tie it to our eyelet. This will get it so we have kickback. When we open up our locks, that'll kick the locks back into the groove. That gives us our spring action.
Okay, what I have in my hand is a collar that you'll see it fits into this 5-foot rod that Tony's holding, but it also engages in our 12-foot rod. And once we have our rods in place, this collar gets nutted to both the rods, and that's what ties the front to the back. Simple, very secure, very tight application, very functional.
So what we're going to do is insert the rod through. Jay's lining it up with the tubes underneath the runways.
Okay,
I'm setting mine
back towards you a little bit. Okay.
I'm making sure that my T-bar is at 11 o'clock. When Jay puts that in down there, that's important that this is set at 11 o'clock at this time.
Okay, and I'm going to tighten the collar with a 7/16 wrench. And now Tony held this end to align with our front of the lift. So now our front and rear are in time. That's one thing nice about the square rod. It times you perfectly, front to back, as long as you assemble it correctly. And that should be it.
Now we're going to repeat what we did on the opposite side of the lift, which is going to be inserting our long lock rod from side to side, making sure that my washer is on this side. So again, when I open up the lock, it pulls this way, which gives me the spring action that I need to have done. One thing I want to make sure I mention is that the long part of this rod is going to go on the top hole. So now we have this already set at the 11 o'clock, so all I have to do is adjust this heim to where it goes straight in. And when we do that, we're going to put a lock washer and a nut. Then, like we did on the other one, we want to insert our 2 heims. We got to put on the 2 jam nuts, and then we put on our heims on the end of it. And then what we got to do is adjust this to the length that we need to match our holes in the locks. So this one can be a little longer. Just like so. And we are jammed. Everything is jammed, the locks are installed. We need to put on our spring. For our locks. Now guys, I don't want you to be confused because we pack these as universal. You're going to see on the wide buddy we have to have a longer rod to be able, because it's a wider lift. But on our classic 7,000 pound lift, it's a shorter distance. So instead of this rod, we'd be using this one to put our lock to our T-bar. So just don't be confused. It's not, you don't need a place to look for this. It's just that we universally pack both of them in the kit.